So you want to make $15 an hour. We've heard a lot of people go, I need to make $15 an hour. $15 an hour. I'm cooking burgers. I need $15 an hour. You're not going to make $15 an hour in fast food. You may make, 10, 11, 12, $13, somewhere around there. But, in this element of the living wage and we're not making enough money, those have kind of faded too as the economy's gotten a lot better. But at the same time, it amazes me that people are clamoring for some of these low-level jobs, which really weren't meant to pay you to live and feed a family of four and retire comfortably and all that by flipping burgers. But you can do that in the construction industry. 2018 is shaping up to be an incredible year right now, and I say that in awe because just looking at the latest job report here, December. Now, keep in mind, most of the nation was under a deep freeze. The construction industry still added 30,000 jobs. And for all of last year, over 200,000 new jobs were added just in the construction sector alone. That's something like a 35% increase over the previous year, over 2016. That is absolutely incredible. And talking about growing sector. Here's the real problem, though, is we're about at the maximum now. There's just not enough bodies to fill all of the positions. Sherrill Lester is the president of QMF Steel, just won the 2017 National Small Business Association Contract of the Year. Sherrill, good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing fine. As someone who dabbles in construction, builds stuff, remodels, and does all that myself, and has tremendous respect and adoration for the trades, and I'm a big shill for the industry. It's amazing. Everyone wants to build, but no one wants their kid, their son, or offspring to go into the trades to build the stuff that we demand. And we're maybe at a first in this country where we have this unbridled building boom that's going on right now, and just not enough bodies. The thing that's holding us back is sheer labor. We haven't seen that maybe since, I don't know, when? During the war? During World War II? I can't remember the last time where we had all of these jobs and no one to fill them.
Well, one of the problems that construction has is a lack of creative marketing. If you could think about what's going on in the marketplace, think drones, think 3D, 4D software. These guys are using tablets on the job site. They're using robots. They're using 3D printing. So construction today is not construction of 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So if construction could get the word out and let everyone know that's in high school and college that there are some really cool jobs in construction. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking right now, an elevator mechanic in Cincinnati, Ohio can make $74 an hour between his wage and fringe benefits.
Yeah, $74 an hour. In that field, by the way, is good. For whatever reason, I don't know, because the population's getting older and we're more ADA compliant and there's new builds going on, is everybody needs an elevator. And those guys I know they're running themselves ragged trying to get all the jobs done.
That's right. But with apprenticeship funding that Trump signed in June of 2017, the states are getting aggressive on getting these younger generations the certificates they need to become elevator mechanics. I mean, the infrastructure is there to get these guys into the labor force. It does exist. Now, here's you mentioned some great stats earlier about the 30,000 jobs that were just added. So currently we're in a $1.2 trillion growth in construction spending just on healthcare, education, general office. Just think about all the headquarters that are moving around the country, these big, blue chip companies moving around that have to have new headquarters. Amazon putting in fulfillment centers. You guys have 5 now. Yep. Manufacturing plants. We have to build new manufacturing plants because of repatriation. So there's a ton of construction spending, but let me drop this bomb on you. If Trump spends $1 trillion in infrastructure on highways, airports, high-speed rail, that is going to add to the labor pool shortage that is already in crisis. So we've got to get these kids in these apprenticeship programs and get them trained to do the kind of crafts that we need to get the work done. And again, think robots, drones, virtual reality. I mean, there are a lot of jobs that aren't shoveling concrete.
Well, you tend to think of maybe the WPA jobs in the 1950s. These guys are, digging, doing the big dig in Boston to build the first subway, or New York City or something like that. And all these immigrants are died a relative, and looking through my My lineage, my great second great grandfather died on his way. Well, was here and died in a labor accident, probably building some skyscraper in New York City, like a lot of Italians did. But those days, those days are long gone. The idea of a guy, working with the grime on his face and everything else. We're talking about high tech jobs. It's not just about swinging a shovel and having all this beef and brawn. It's about using your head more than anything else these days.
It is. I did some research for you, and there are a lot of websites that will help these people find apprenticeship programs. Mechanical engineer is a hot job in your area. It's something that you would need on a commercial project, a building project. And at mynextmove.org, you can see what skills are necessary, and you can find companies that will sponsor you to get the certificates you need to work for them. It's like a job placement program. It's what we used to do back in the day when there weren't all these, everybody had to go to college, and it was more trade oriented. We're going back to that because we need
Thank
that.
God.
We need to get people on the job now, not 4 years from now.
Yeah, it's funny because my son, who's now 23, he went to school a couple times, changes, major, whatever. He's like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this at all. And I said, okay, well, family business and that, remodeling, and he's helping me. He's always been around hammers and tools his whole life, and wind up working for a friend of ours doing some general labor, basically doing demolition work, and decided, he's like, Dad, I think I want to be an electrician. So he's going to wind up doing an apprenticeship, 4-year apprentice program. Same thing. It's amazing. I mean, getting the word out about these programs that are out there, and it's wonderful too, is because, you'll work with a good company, they'll pay you, and then 1 or 2 days a week, they'll send you to school that they pay for, and then in 4 years, you're making 75, 80 grand a year. How many 4-year college graduates can say they're making that kind of money as soon as they graduate?
It doesn't
with no debt. With no debt.
It's pie. That's right. It's pie in the sky.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I'm talking to these other large general contractors that are going into high schools. They're actually going into high schools, and they're trying to show how cool the jobs are in construction, so that they will take these apprenticeship programs as opposed to signing up, for a 4-year college.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're getting them into these, trade organizations that will sponsor them. There are tons and tons of sponsorships out there through trade organizations that will help you at least pay for the certification if it's not paid for, by the business, by the small business.
Right. Sherrill Lester's on the show this morning. She's president of a steel company, 2017 National Small Business Contractor of the Year, and we're talking about the construction industry. And right now, we have way more than many jobs in the industry, in the field, because there's so much work to be done, and yet not enough bodies to do it. There's a tremendous labor shortage. I know I've talked about this for years now, but I mean, think about this, as you said, right? If Trump decides, hey, we're going to spend $1 billion on infrastructure, which we need, add that to the discussed trillion rather, add that to the $18 billion if they want to do the border wall where you are down in Texas. I mean, somebody's got to build that too, right?
Right, exactly. There's more than enough work to go around. I mean, we're in an economic boom in our country that we need to take advantage of. So not only do we need to get labor force ready to do work and to stay on the job, we need to get the small businesses prepared to take on, the capacity building that they need, financially and manpower. They need to, learn how to run multiple jobs across maybe even multiple states. So the small business, organizations need to help the small businesses learn how to be more financially, fiscally responsible. We don't want small businesses to go out of business trying to manage all of this, overwhelming, work.
Yeah, I think the other element here, too, is for me, it seems the disconnect is with mom and dad. You talk to parents and they go, yeah, my kid's got to do better in school. They need to go to school. They need to go to college, get a 4-year degree like we did, like previous generation did. I was the first in my family to go to college. And I certainly don't regret it, but the times have changed. And I think that mindset still persists, that somehow these jobs are beneath our kids. We don't want our kids doing that for a living. We want them to be doctors and lawyers, or even go and be a teacher, get a 4-year degree in something and anything, and that'll open the door up to a great career. And as we know, we've lied to an entire generation of young people, not all of them, but a good number who are looking down the barrel at tremendous college debt and in their chosen field in which they studied have no means to pay that back if ever. And so I think we lied to a lot of kids and going, hey, college, you get a college degree, you're all set. That's not the case anymore. To me, the big thing is convincing mom and dad that it's okay to work in a blue-collar field, because it's not really blue-collar anymore.
Well, I mean, I have nothing more to say than $60 an hour. I mean, that would cause me to want my child to become an elevator mechanic.
Right,
You
right.
want your children to be successful and be able to support their families and have a career, not a job, but a career. And in a trade like this, in the trades that build buildings, that's never going to go away. It's like the healthcare industry; it's never going to go away.
Right.
And although we have booms and busts, it's still, people need to renovate. Good grief, there were hurricanes this year that caused construction that we didn't, plan on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and there are so many other trades that aren't even specifically wielding a hammer. I mean, you have to have people that clean those buildings. You have to have people that manage, the IT in those buildings. So just construction in itself creates a lot of opportunity for your children to do things that aren't necessarily doctor, lawyer,
Right.
teacher, the traditional, like you said, those jobs that maybe our parents wanted us to have.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. When my grandfather, he came up hard. He's a truck driver, and they wanted a better life for their kids. My dad did for sure, and saying, I don't want my sons to have to do this kind of stuff, and looking over their shoulder when it comes to a job. So go to college, and you won't have to worry about it. But certainly after I did, something changed in our country, as it always does. It's a new paradigm right now, and as you said, you're making $60, $70 an hour. That's at the end of the day, if you're driving a 7 Series, does it matter how you paid for it? Right? If that's your goal
right,
as a parent,
right.
going, I want my kids to be well off, and that's the goal, and does it really matter how they do it, provided it's legal? And this certainly is. And not only that, if you're that smart, you'll wind up probably starting your own business anyway, like you did.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's also something that's very much needed, good small businesses that can manage crews.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the crew that's needed, but the small businesses to manage those crews, for the big general contractors that, manage the money. So there's just a lot of money being spent, in the public sector and the private sector across the board in construction. So this is the time to be in construction. I mean, in 10 years, if it starts to slack off, then if you want to be a teacher, go do it then. But right now, take advantage of this.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
opportunity.
Right. Well, you're able to bank a little bit of money. Not only that, too. Again, if you're a general laborer, you're going to be one of the first ones laid off. But if you are a skilled laborer, which we're talking about here, skilled trades, you're going to be in demand. Things electricians, plumbers, HVAC. We're always going to need those things. Elevator mechanics, as you said, you're going to always need those. Those aren't going away, and you're certainly feathering your nest without that tremendous outlay for cash when it comes to college. So, don't turn your nose at this kind of stuff. Sherrill Lester, mynextmove.org is the website if you want to check that out. If you're on the fence like this and going, hey, you know what, this sounds really good. So I don't laugh. I shake my head and go, these people that are demanding $15, $20 an hour for working in a fast food place, why not get a job in construction and you could make 3 or 4 times that within a couple of years? It seems to me that you got to put a little bit of you also got to have a little ambition here and do a little work yourself too, right?
That's right. I mean, on-the-job training is actually better than college training, in my opinion. I mean, that's how I did it, and I'm a successful business owner. And I mean, OJT. I mean, that goes a lot further, and especially if the company is sponsoring you, then they're teaching you the way they want you to do it.
Right.
You're not coming with baggage from some educator who doesn't even has never wielded a hammer.
Right.
It really is a great way to do it, and I think I'm excited about this apprenticeship funding. $200 million Trump signed in as an executive order, and each state has a program. So, in your state, it's apprenticeship.ohio.gov,
right.
And it shows the employers that are sponsoring and the kind of apprenticeship programs. It's amazing. It's definitely the way to go right now. I'd say, get online today and figure out what you want to do and go for it.
Yeah, not even for your kid. If it's you and you're going, well, I'm just, I'm kicking around job to job and looking for really a career or something that can make some serious money and be able to afford a vacation or whatever it might be, consider these things too. And you go, oh, I'm not good with my hands. A lot of this job, it's applied, but certainly a lot of the stuff, as you mentioned, is a lot of the stuff that you wind up learning in school too. So, Sherrill, I'll let you go. Sherrill Lester, you got a company to run, you got money to make. You got bridges to build, you got walls to build, you got all that stuff going on. So
absolutely.
I appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That website again, mynextmove.org. I mean, seriously, $70 an hour. Got your attention now, right? Willie is on the way at 12:06 right after news.